Come on, KG, this is no different than that. This is me, all right?
Hey guys, it's Josh DeZinzio, the Film Informer, super excited to talk about my top movies of 2019. So before I jump into my top 10, I want to list 5 movies that I haven't been able to see that I really want to. Those are Manos, The Farewell, 1917, Honey Boy, and Waves. Unfortunately, they just weren't playing anywhere close to me, and I haven't been able to catch a screener or anything of these films just yet. So they may affect the top 10 that I have now, but these sort of things do change over the years, so I can release an updated video when I get around to watching all of those.
Here's Master Jojo. You're a top man. Prepare to leave the house.
Number 10, Jojo Rabbit by that director whose name I just can't seem to pronounce correctly. Wow, what a awesome, emotional, funny, all around just great movie that hit so many different vibes throughout its runtime, and it's filled with great performances. It's nice to see Scarlett Johansson putting in so much work this year. She's featured on this list again a little later. I really enjoyed watching Roman Griffin Davis work. As a young actor, he was really impressive, being able to hit a lot of different emotions throughout the film. Definitely a great lead performance from this little guy. I would not be surprised to see this get a original screenplay nomination, as well as maybe even sneak into the best picture category. We will see.
I'm Rick Dalton. It's my
Number 9 from my man Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I was anticipating this movie so much, along with a bunch of other films this year. But Tarantino's always had a place in my heart since I saw Pulp Fiction as a young cinema buff. Once Upon a Time has a very different vibe from most of his films. In fact, the movie is really just a vibe. There is not too much going on, which seems to be a complaint from some people, but technically it's a masterpiece and the performances are incredible. All around, I don't have too many complaints, but it's definitely not one of my favorite Tarantino films. From a director who's just had classic after classic, I was expecting a little bit more from a movie of this length.
Only a few know. Our story changed the world forever.
Number 8, How to Train Your Dragon. I have loved these movies since I was a child, and watching it come to this point has been a great adventure. I mean, in the span of this last decade, the story grew so much, and it's achieved so much in its technical advances and just how they handle the animation of these films. It's absolutely gorgeous. While I see some people complaining that this third one wasn't the best written, and that it kind of hypnotized us with its great animation, I guess that could be true, but I really didn't have any complaints with the story. I really liked where they took these characters and where they ended up, and I'm excited to see this world expand. Usually you're not going to see animation on my list. I don't go to see too many animated films these days, but this one was one I was really excited for, and it paid off. It was a great experience.
Shelby,
Maybe?
Lehigh Coke, Ford Motor.
Number 7 is Ford versus Ferrari. I have to admit that I'm not the biggest fan of cars or racing, especially not NASCAR. I find it a little boring. But this movie brought a lot of energy to this world, and for me it was something I really appreciated, not knowing too much about it, not even knowing what the Le Mans was previous. Getting to learn about the Le Mans and then watching characters that I get to spend 2 hours really caring about put their work and their lives in danger in this race was just an overall exhilarating experience. Though the acting category is the most heated it's ever been, I still wouldn't be surprised to see Christian Bale get a nomination. I would not be surprised to see this pull a nomination in cinematography, as well as a couple other of the technical categories. I thought it was a super exciting film that brought someone like me who is not from this world and just gave them a new perspective and entertained the hell out of me. I was not bored at all during this movie, which is nearly 3 hours long, so that's impressive alone. James Mangold has done great work with this. Definitely something you should be checking out this year.
At that, what do you know?
I don't know. I just know.
Well, I'll tell you what I know. That's the dumbest fucking bet I ever heard of.
Number 6, Uncut Gems. I did a whole video just about how awesome this movie is and how stressful it is to experience. Holy shit, the Safdie brothers know how to lock people into an experience, and that's something that movie did very well for me, and it's the reason I love and appreciate it so much. It's a different style of filmmaking. I've seen people try to compare them to, say, Scorsese or some others, but really it's a unique experience that they are seemingly just mastering this new style. I definitely recommend checking Uncut Gems out, especially for Adam Sandler. I mean, this guy puts in so much work. He's really just back on the scene with a lot of big presence and attitude. Holy shit, it was so much fun to watch him. Their movies are kind of black comedies in a way, you know? They have very serious situations, but there's just so much bizarre stuff going on at once that it's overwhelming, to say the least. And so when there is comic relief, it comes off in this just really eerie, silly way, and it's easy to miss. But if you go in with that mindset, you might have a better time.
To tell me, to tell you, it's what it is.
Number 5, from my favorite director of all time, Martin Scorsese, The Irishman. Scorsese consistently drops good movies year after year, dating back to the 80s. And he's here working with his boy, Robert De Niro, once again. It's super exciting to see these two back together. And not only that, but we also have Joe Pesci, Al Pacino, Harvey Keitel. Everyone pretty much besides Ray Liotta is back to put in work. This mobster epic is nearly 4 hours long and is oddly a Netflix original, but it's a film that must be watched. While it's not Scorsese's best movie, it does feature his darkest character yet. Frank Sheeran, the Irishman, is definitely the evilest character we've seen Scorsese digest yet. But the movie doesn't paint him that way because it's from his perspective. So it's super interesting to watch this man just tell his story of all these really malicious, violent acts, and at the end of the day, feel bad for him, because that's what Scorsese does so well. He always finds a way to make you feel for his anti-heroes. Can't wait to see this get recognized at the Oscars. Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Al Pacino. I wouldn't be surprised if any one of these guys got a nomination this year, as well as Scorsese and maybe even the cinematography. And of course, it's gonna be in that Best Picture category. Everyone knows it's front runner for winning. Next to a couple other films that I'll talk about later.
What? That's what I mean!
Moving on, number 4, The Lighthouse. Robert Eggers is one of A24's best new directors, with The Witch being super successful a couple years back. He is here yet again with a suspense, not so much horror this time around, but definitely just a mind fuck of an experience. The Lighthouse stars Robert Pattinson and William Dafoe, and they are both so incredible. I really think Dafoe is going to pull through with the nomination this year. I think he deserves it. But despite the Oscars, this is the art house film of the year. It's a black and white masterpiece about two wikis stranded in a lighthouse during a storm. As the story unfolds, you really start to know less and less about what's actually going on, but it's super interesting and engaging, and I just appreciated everything about it, from the set design to the costumes to the direction, and of course, Dafoe's performance. Just 10 out of 10, this guy is a great actor, and Robert Eggers really got to pull some strings and just use this man in the best way possible. Really hope to see him get appreciated. I'd honestly love to see him win Best Supporting Actor this year. And The Lighthouse is a film that you must check out, especially if you're a fan of the art house. If that's not really your thing, this may be one you want to skip, because it is weird and it dives into some just interesting, to say the least, There he is. My top 3 favorite movies of the year were really hard to put in an order. All 5-star films, which says a lot. Typically, I don't even have one 5-star film for a year. So to see this many in this short of a period is just so incredible. Again, 2019, what a fucking year for cinema. Oh my god. The Oscars, the guys at the Academy have some tough work to do. There's gonna be a lot of people mad because there's just so much that can't get recognized and appreciated this year.
What I love about Nicole, she's a great dancer. Infectious.
So, number 3, Marriage Story. Holy shit. Alright, talk about good performances. Adam Driver probably gave one of the best of the year. Now, there's probably a lot of people already mad that Joker's not on this list. And I'll be frank, it's not one of my top 3. I appreciate Joker, and I really love Joaquin Phoenix, and I can see the man winning Best Actor this year. But as a whole, it's not my favorite film. But in comparison to a great performance like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, Adam Driver gives a heartfelt, emotional powerhouse of a performance. Alright, this film is about divorce. It's about a couple falling apart. That's really all it is. And the film has to use these actors to the best of their abilities to tell this emotional story. And it's emotional. Alright, I'll be frank, I cry during movies, and this movie made me bawl my eyes out. Scarlett Johansson as well, what a year for this performer, and oh my god, she was just equally as good as Adam Driver. I'd love to see her get a nomination and even win for Best Actress. Powerful, powerful stuff. It's a must watch, but bring a box of tissues, guys. It's gonna make you cry.
I believe we have some power over who we love. It isn't something that just happens to a person.
I think the poets might disagree.
Well, I'm not a poet. I'm just a woman.
Speaking of crying, number 2 is a movie I can't quite explain why I love so much. But there is one reason that I'll start with, and that is Greta Gerwig. Lady Bird was one of my favorite experiences of 2017, and Gerwig's style is very raw, very real and relatable for someone of my age, and I loved the lead actress. I always mispronounce her name, but Miss Ronan. Wonderful actress, and I was very glad to see her back with Gerwig. Now, while I can't really relate to the woman of this story or the time period they live in, it was definitely nice to visit. Gerwig paints a very beautiful picture of this time period, and I'm really excited to see this movie get recognized for its costume and set design. The whole movie was very, very vivid. Next to that, it's my favorite ensemble of the year, and that's saying a lot when you put it next to The Irishman or even Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. These ladies did a wonderful job. Florence Pugh, Emma Watson, Eliza Scanlon, Meryl Streep, Laura Dern, and of course Miss Ronan just all came together and made this emotional powerhouse of an experience. I know I've said powerhouse probably like 3 or 4 times. Forgive me. I'm not as good as English as I thought. It had me crying. It had my girlfriend crying. It had pretty much everyone in this theater crying. There were sniffles audible throughout the entire room. It's a special movie, and I did not expect to like it as much as I did. So I recommend everyone goes and checks it out. It is for all different audiences. It really is, and that's something I love about it. It's a movie that can be enjoyed by a lot of different people for all the things it does successfully, and that's amazing to me.
그러니까 다한테서 들은 바에 의하면 그 아줌마가 엄청 심한 복숭아 알러지, 응?
Last but not least, Parasite. What a movie. I've already seen it 5 or 6 times now. I did a whole breakdown and analysis that blew up on this channel, and I was super excited to see that. It's the first video for me that's ever crossed 10,000 views, and now it's bordering on 40,000. So it means a lot for me. It's a special film for me as far as what I've seen this year, and it's an incredible experience that's unique, and I want it to win Best Picture. I'll be very open. I'm throwing hands if this film don't win, all right? Bring my Raging Bull out. Jake LaMotta's coming with me. We're gonna come beat some of these old Academy boomer asses. This movie's great. It should be the first international film to ever win Best Picture. It deserves it. It does a lot of very interesting things in a small amount of space in this house that they built for the movie, which is pretty cool. The architecture of this house plays into the story. Just about everything plays into the story. You have to watch my analysis. I'm way too excited. I'm just gonna ramble on. There's not enough time for me to truly appreciate it. So first, watch it. Second, watch my analysis. It's funny, it's thrilling, it's dramatic, it'll make you cry. It's everything a movie should be. Director Bong Joon-ho did something very special. This guy has made several great films, and this one sort of is his masterwork at this point. Of course, he's a young guy. I'm sure he's gonna do a lot more. All of the performances, the cinematography, the soundtrack, it's just perfect. There's no complaint that I have for the film, and that is me taking every minute of the film and studying it and looking for something to complain about. Just great work.
우리 다송이는 완전 예술가 체질인데 요거 한번 보세요.
진짜 상징적이다. 진짜 센데요.
그쵸, 세죠.
분들의 관점으로는 이해를 못하는 거지. 다송이의 이 전체적인 감각을.
잠깐. 제시카 외동딸 일리노이 시카고 과선배는 김치모 그는 이사촌. 다송이는 올라가 있어. 심리학 미술 치료 쪽으로도 공부 중이라고 말씀드렸죠?
네네.
다송이한테 무슨 일이 있었나요, 1학년 때?
While I wasn't able to see Honey Boy, I did get to see Shia LaBeouf's film, The Peanut Butter Falcon, and it really just brought a big smile to my face the whole movie. It's definitely what people say, it's a feel-good film, and it deserves all the recognition it gets. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I highly recommend watching it if you haven't got to yet. Midsommar is Ari Aster's follow-up to Hereditary, and it's a bizarre, eccentric, just wild film that is polarizing to its audiences. I know some people who just absolutely abhor and hate this film, and I can't really blame them because it's weird and it gets under your skin, but as a weirdo, I kind of enjoyed it and definitely deserves its 4 out of 5 star rating from me. Netflix had a great year, and The King is one of those few movies that really could have made some waves during this award season, but they're leaning more towards the likes of The Irishman and Marriage Story, understandably so, because those made it on my top 10. The King, Timothée Chalamet, Joel Edgerton, Robert Pattinson all give great performances in this medieval war epic. It's a bit slow, a bit of a slow burn, but I really enjoyed the production value and just the overall experience. Another Netflix original that is actually making some waves this award season, The Two Popes, was a super enjoyable experience. It was funny, it was heartwarming, full of great performances from the 2 lead actors. I don't know too much when it comes to Catholicism and all the stuff going on with the Vatican, but it really was able to bring someone like me into that world, and it had its own very confined story. I think that it could speak to a lot of people, and it was a great experience. Ad Astra is a great sci-fi film starring Brad Pitt that very much caters towards the art crowd. It was a little bit of a missed market, tried to make it seem like an action movie when really it's not. It's a very slow film, but I enjoyed the cinematography and hope to see it get some recognition this award season. All of the films on this list are worth your time if you haven't got around to them, and I'm sure there's a ton of movies that you've seen that maybe I haven't had a chance, so if there's anything you really appreciate, talk about it in the comments. I'd like to hear from you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you did. Please subscribe and share the video with some friends, guys. I probably won't get a video out this Sunday because I'll be on a cruise enjoying the weather and ocean and probably catching up on some movies I haven't seen. I want to thank all of you new subscribers again. Just thank you for supporting my channel. I hope to live up to all of your expectations. I'll see you guys later.